What's up, Conference USA fans? Welcome back to another episode of CUSA Insider, the official podcast of Conference USA. I'm your host, Sarah Rudolph, and we are here today to bring you all things Week 8 football recap, looking forward to Week 9, talking a little bit of women's soccer and volleyball as well as we are headed into the final weeks of those seasons. Joining me today, of course, Josh Yonis. Thank you so much for being here again.
Yeah, happy to be here, be back on my side of the table.
Yes.
You know,
I was going to mention, thank you for holding down the fort last week. You know, it was Columbus Day, which means my children had no school, so had to go home and help out with the little one. So I appreciate you guys holding down the fort for me, but I'm happy to be back.
I can't believe it was the first time Jess and I had been on together.
Me either. I'm so glad that she got to fill in. You will hear from Jessica a little later. This is a little look into the rest of the episode. But so today we're going to talk all about Week 8, what happened there. Look forward to Week 9. But before we do any of that, let's take a look at our top plays from the past week of football. There are some really good ones. So we're going to start first, always from the bottom up at number 5 here. Let's see who made the 5th spot. All right, Caleb Nix, scoop and score for Jack State. Fun fact about him, didn't know he was Bo Nix's brother. Learned that.
Also, yeah, didn't know that until they brought it up on the broadcast. But yeah, what a pivotal score for Jack State. Obviously a big play nonetheless, but huge early on there to really swing the game in their favor and really kind of put it out of reach for the Blue Hens very early on.
Yep, and we're going to look here at that game again. On the other side of the ball, Nick Minicucci, 31-yard pass to Nick LeBoy. This was not a touchdown, as some people thought it was on our social media this afternoon. But what a grab here.
Yeah.
What a fantastic catch.
Yeah, he's made a couple of those this year. He's been kind of a fun target. I mean, we've talked plenty about Kyrie Duplessis, too. They've got some playmakers on Blue Hens, for sure.
Is this the first week that Kyrie Duplessis has not made the top 5?
It sure feels like it. I think it maybe last week was, but okay. Yeah.
All right, here we go. At number 3 here, we have Keyshawn Owens. 84-yard rush play here. I love this one.
I mean, starting the run from 4 yards deep in your own end zone, and yeah, rumbles his way down.
That juke in between 2 defenders, I just love it every time.
He's fun to watch. Obviously, just the athleticism, the power. He's really got it all. He got Offensive Player of the Week for the 2nd time this season. He's putting together quite the campaign.
Yes, an incredible game for him. Once again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Here we go at number 2, Julian Grade. 96-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
Yeah, and you kind of think, just based on where this kick lands, maybe he just ends up fair catching it, but he decides, oh, you know what, I like what I see, scoops it up and just races down the field. I mean, we talked about him before. He was, just one of the freakiest athletes in the league, very versatile what he can do for Liberty. And this week it was, special teams that he was able to get it done.
I love to see that one too. No doubter, no flags. So nice to see that. Sometimes on those kickoff returns, you just don't know what's going to happen. But here we are at number 1, TK King, one-handed grab from Logan Fife. What a fabulous catch.
Unreal. And he's already been on here a few times, even though he missed half the season.
Right.
And we were just talking before we got on here. I mean, you wonder how good New Mexico State could be if they'd had him for the whole season. But he's certainly making an impact just in his first few weeks as an Aggie. He's been a lot of fun.
I mean, the control that you have to have of your body to realize where that ball is, where the defender is, hold on to it coming down like that.
The defender's trying to moss him. I mean, he almost has the interception, and then he says no. I mean, the strength in his hands to pull that one down and get it down for his own catch is pretty impressive.
That was a good one. That was a fun one. Well, I hope you enjoyed top plays as much as we did this week. There were some really good ones on there, but let's talk about the games from this past week before we get to next week. I don't know if you want to start with New Mexico State and Liberty or FIU and WKU, but those 2 games that on Tuesday were definitely some fabulous ones to watch.
Yeah, I mean, Tuesday's turning out to be the night to watch. Yeah. And we'll talk more about that when we get to our Week 9 recap. We'll start with that one, New Mexico State Liberty. I mean, this game was just such an interesting game because I felt like New Mexico State was the better team, start to finish. When you look at the fact that they outgained Liberty, you win the turnover battle, you won the time of possession battle. They were 10 of 17 on 3rd down. They got 14 points off turnover. I mean, you look at that kind of recipe, and if I had the time to go do the research, I'm sure that teams who meet all of those, check all those boxes would be likely undefeated, right? Like if you get all those things done, you're winning a football game. You get another solid game from Logan Fife. And so this one was just a really frustrating one for Mexico State, that you put everything together and you still can't come away with a win.
Yeah. And we've talked about this on the show before. I would never in my entire life wish to be a college kicker or wish for any of my children to be college kickers, because, a missed field goal really did kind of end the game for New Mexico State there. Could have gone in a different direction had that field goal been made. But like you said, the recipe leading up to, usually you sit there and say, well, the rest of the game, could have been won in all of these different places. They had a great recipe, but still, again, didn't come out on top. Liberty also didn't play the most perfect game, but they put the most points on the board. Yeah.
And they got, a great game from Evan Dickens from the backfield. He had 50 yards and a couple touchdowns, and really it was special teams dominated this game, because, we talked about the kickoff return for a touchdown by Juju Gray. They were 3 for 3 on field goals. Jay Billingsley has turned out to be a really, consistent force for them to finish out some drives. And then it was 2 muffed punts. I mean, you look at, there's like a handful of plays, from this game. I mean, I don't remember how many total plays, but you look at the 2 muffed punts. You look at, go back to a decision to pass late in the game, from Liberty's 39. You feel like, okay, well, this is probably 4 down territory. If you run twice, you run some clock down. I appreciate that there's coaches out there, like the Dan Campbells of the world, that are just like, I'm, sticking to what I know we can do best. So you got to give some respect to the coaching staff there to, kind of double down on what they want to try and get done. But obviously, hindsight 2020, you have to look back at that and be like, well, that could have been the game. And then Liberty ends up driving 92 yards, and then you have the missed field goal. So like, you look at those handful of things that just completely changed the trajectory of the game, even though the other 90% of the game you dominated. So that's a tough one for New Mexico State. But Liberty, I mean, 2-1 in Conference USA.
Yep, 2-1 conference.
We're sitting here like, oh, are they, back in the conversation?
Listen, the conversation in general has gone awry. Okay,
but the 4 weeks ago is a manifesto now. It is like there's so many teams involved now, and it's just kind of out the window. Like, we have no idea what's going to happen.
Well, speaking of part of the reason it's out the window, a very lopsided result in the FIU WKU game on Tuesday night as well. One that I think several people, myself included, did not expect. Now, don't get me wrong. I thought FIU had a chance to win the game. I didn't think WKU was going to go out there and run the table, but just the way that it occurred, I think, was very surprising to most.
Yeah, I mean, I stepped out of meeting with my small group, and I pull up my phone and I see it's like 19-6, I think is what the score was when I looked. And I was like, guys, what is that? What did I miss? Another week, another result that, like you said, no one saw coming. We talked about this last week when I came in here after the Kennesaw Louisiana Tech game, and I was just like, I had no, all love to Kennesaw, but did not see that coming whatsoever. I mean, FIU put together an insane performance on both sides of the ball. We talked about Keyshawn Owens. That was his, I forgot to mention this. That was his first touch of the game. Oh, and he went 84 yards.
I don't know if I realized that.
Yeah. His first touch, he goes 84 yards, ends up finishing with 195 and a touchdown, to earn Offensive Player of the Week honors. On first down, rush attempts for FIU, they had 17 carries for 132 yards. So an average of almost 8 yards per carry. So, I mean, when you're setting yourself up for success like that by basically on your average drive, you are staring at a 2nd and 2 every time. Well, the success rate there is just only going to get better, right? If you're able to get the game, the offense going that early, and then another efficient outing for Keywon, but this FIU defense, they were in their bag.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you take a look at what we've talked about with WKU week after week, keeping the offense in the game, getting the offense going, getting the defense going like they did a few weeks ago with the turnover tops. And that just, none of it really fell into place for the Hilltoppers this week. Maverick McIver, 3 interceptions, tied his career high for interceptions in a game. 2 of those being in the red zone, which you can't do that. Like that's really tough for them. But when you talk about the positives, though, on the FIU side, Josiah McGrew, true freshman, okay, out there getting 2 interceptions, 3 on the season now. Mr. Clark, who has been an outstanding player for the FIU defense, also out there getting another interception, 5 tackles, 3
2.
It's not a great name. I love it. Every time I hear it, I'm like, do you spell Mr. differently? Like, let me double check this really quick. But 3 pass breakups. He had a really good outing as well. And yeah, I just think a lot of people were probably just a little dumbfounded by the way that this one ended up.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of good out of FIU, and I talked about it previewing this game. I mean, it's been a roller coaster all year because, you know, you talk about the high, you know, beating Bethune-Cookman, and then, you know, you lose game, and then you beat your rival, and then, you know, you lose game, and then now you knock off WKU. You got to start stacking wins. And obviously we'll talk more about that as we look ahead. But for them, they got to get off the roller coaster, right? That's going to be the key to, you know, potentially getting to a bowl game for the first time. I didn't look it up, but
several years.
Yeah, it's been a handful of years.
But you look at both of these teams too, and they have tough matchups going into this week, which we'll talk about here in a second. But FIU is meeting Kennesaw State, WKU meeting La Tech, both definitely contenders as well for the Conference USA Championship at the end of the season. So super excited about those games, which are also they're Tuesdays. They're Tuesday games. All right, we're all about
something about those
Tuesdays right now. But we did have 2 matchups on Wednesday night last week as well. That I think obviously the fans of these teams were super excited to watch, but some different results than I was expecting. I think Delaware Jack State was one that I had my eye on that I really wasn't sure which direction it was going to go, especially the way Delaware has been performing with Nick Mitakuchi at quarterback. And I just wasn't sure how this one was going to turn out, but Jacksonville State ends up getting the win 38-25. Tell me a little bit about what you saw in that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you take, you know, maybe the first couple, maybe not the whole first half, but at least like the first quarter and a half out the game, I had kind of predicted this one to play out very, very similarly to WKU Delaware, where it's a very back and forth affair, and it would come down to the last possession. But I think for Delaware, it's like you blink and then it's 21-0, and there's just no coming back from that. I mean, you can look at the fact that, I mean, again, down the stretch, you know, they end up outscoring them 25-17, if I did my math right. So, you know, obviously they played a much better second half. Kind of made some adjustments. I'm sure Jack State kind of let up on the pedal a little bit, but yeah, it was just that hot start by the Gamecocks. You get 2 fumbles that turn into 2 quick scores, and then, you know, Delaware just couldn't stop the run,
right?
And that's going to be the case, I think, anybody facing Jack State.
Yep, very true, very true. Cam Cook out there doing his thing for sure. But I think one thing that was surprising to me is despite the lack of offensive scoring from Delaware, Nick Mitakuchi still had 422 yards passing, which is absolutely insane.
I mean, now granted, yes, he's throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game, but I mean, still his ability to sling it and get that offense moving is great. But what I was probably most disappointed by from Delaware, and I had kind of teed this up as being a great running back matchup, and we saw it from Cam Cook, had 117 yards, 3 touchdowns. We didn't see it from Joe Silk. We didn't see it from anybody. They had 1.8 yards per carry as a team. So, you know, no one could really get that in. And of course, you know, the scheme changes when you're down 21-0. I mean, you're not running the ball as much, but, you know, they couldn't even, you know, build drives or open up the pass game more by having a complementary run game. So that was definitely a big struggle for them. So shout out to Jack State's defense. I know we don't always give them, even last year, I don't know that we gave them the most love all the time. You know, they were very disruptive last year, but, you know, when you looked at the yards allowed or the points allowed, it wasn't always the prettiest. But, you know, there's been a couple games now where like they put together just enough to get them a really big win like this.
Absolutely. And I think Jack State too is one of those teams that, you know, on this program, when I've been here anyway, we haven't talked as much about. We've been talking a lot about WKU, a lot about La Tech. Kennesaw State has put their name in there. We cannot be sleeping on Jack State, who now sits at 3-0 in conference.
Well, this is how it happened last year. I mean, they started so slow in non-conference last year, and then it was like that Southern Miss game was the turning point, and then they, you know, almost nearly ran the table in Conference USA. So, yeah, it feels very similar to last year, where it's like, all right, they just need a little while to get everything click in, you know, new coach, new backfield, new, like so much new, and now they finally got it going for them. So, yeah, now you see a lot of people saying like that back-to-back talk heating up.
Yep.
I don't know. They're going to be a tough one to stop.
It'll be interesting. And now they have a week off before they go to Murfreesboro and play a Middle Tennessee team. So we'll see. And that's almost the end of our weekday slate by the time we get there.
Crazy.
So to end off the night, we had UTEP at Sam Houston. UTEP gets their first conference win of the season. Unfortunately, Sam Houston falls to 0-4 in conference play, which I was looking at that. I was like, they've played 4 conference games already.
Yeah, that week 0 game, right?
No, it really kind of messes with you. But tough game for the Bearcats for sure. But we saw good stuff out of Skylar Locklear this week, which was nice to see. 4 total touchdowns from him. What else did you catch out of that game from those two teams?
Everything.
All of the things.
He had everything. It was, this is like pure gold for Sicko's committee, right? You had a 99-yard drive for Sam Houston's first touchdown, a 3-play sequence that would, and this was picked up by just about everybody. This was the wildest sequence I've ever seen in college football. You had a turnover on downs. The first play after that, you had I think it was a Sam Houston fumble, and then UTEP on their first play of the ensuing drive throws an interception. So 3 turnovers in 3 plays.
Why not?
And then you had each team had a blocked kick, and we'll just tack on a muffed punt at the end of the game too. So it's just like this. This game was wild, but this is the beauty of Weekday CUSA too. You get just these crazy games like this. It was still, a very entertaining game, but really it was UTEP that dominant fourth quarter that they were able to pull away in this one. And yeah, it was awesome to see a great performance from Skylar Locklear. We talked that they needed consistency out of the quarterback position, and so if they're trying to turn the season around, by any means, it's going to be leaning into one quarterback. And right now, Skylar Locklear seems like he's going to be the one that can hopefully carry him to that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people were surprised when he didn't necessarily start the season for the minor. And now here he is again, proving that maybe he should have been that QB1 spot all along. I don't know. So good stuff there out of the minors. Excited to see them get their first Conference USA victory of the season. But before we get to our Week 9 previews, we had, I didn't actually get to do it. This is what I was talking about before. Our lovely Jess Radford got a chance to sit down with WKU's Brandon Doughty. Now, if you remember, quarterback of the past who just got inducted into the CUSA Hall of Fame this year. 2 of our staffers got to go up to Bowling Green and sit down with a couple of other Hall of Famers that got inducted this year as well. And on the volleyball side, with head coach there and Jessica Lucas. So we're going to be previewing those for you, but we'll go to those a little bit later when we get to volleyball championship time. But Jess got to sit down and have an awesome chat with quarterback Brandon Doughty. And so we want to show you that right now, and we'll do our Week 9 previews on the other side.
Over his legendary career, Brandon Doughty shattered 37 WKU records and 4 Conference USA records, redefining what greatness looks like under center. And now he is a Conference USA Hall of Famer. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I want to first congratulate you on being inducted into Conference USA Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's an honor. It really is. Got surprised with the news. So my whole family's been celebrating since we got the news a couple weeks ago.
No, I love that. When you first came to WKU, did you think that you would be rewriting record books, winning Conference USA championships, and just being a legendary icon of WKU football?
I wouldn't go that far, but but seriously, when I came here at Western, they don't tell you. I had 2 scholarship offers: FAU, because I'm from South Florida, and Western Kentucky, and I got it real late. And in the recruiting pitch, they don't tell you that the Hilltoppers had lost 26 football games in a row. So I was like, oh gosh, this is news to me when I stepped on campus. Probably bad research, but I was just trying to get
you didn't do your research.
I was trying to get out of South Florida. So came here. We struggled first year. Then 2011, on my 3rd play from scrimmage, a first career start, tore my ACL. So you kind of go from being a big man on campus, first career start, especially as a young player, and then you tear your ACL, and you're like, oh crap. Now I'm back to I bend my knee all over again. So, and then, 2012 came, and I sat out most of that year, kind of played some cleanup duty. And then we had a total change in the dynamic when Willie Tyrett came here. So, and then we hired a guy named Bobby Petrino, and Bobby Petrino kind of changed. We were just talking about this with Todd Stewart. He kind of really changed the mindset of Western Kentucky. I think when I first got here in 2010, we were in kind of a D1 AA mindset. Like did we define success in the D1 AA level? Now I think when Petrino came here, he kind of gave us a kind of a framework to say, hey, this is how you have to be good as a big power Division I school. So he brought that dynamic in there. We played decent that year, up and down year. Thought I was going to get cut. And then Jeff Brom takes over as the head coach, and we put together 2 really, really good years back to back and win a conference championship. First time they've ever done that. I think that's the most proud thing I've had of the 37 school records and whatever you just said, is we won our first conference championship here in this building for the first time in school history. That was cool. So, yeah.
I love that you just told us how you battled back from injury, right? Because, I mean, a lot of athletes, go through that time where, it's quite a downtime where you don't know what success will look like after injury, or will you be the same person that you was before the injury? Absolutely. So can you just talk to us a little bit about that, that training time and that just mindset of you trying to get back to where you was before the injury?
Yeah, so I kind of came in, 3-star kid, like I said, didn't have any offers, but I was kind of like one of the better recruits that came to Western at the time. So I think I went in with that mindset of like, all right, I can kind of do whatever I want, and I can still throw the football wherever I want to throw it. And then, and it kind of worked my butt off to become the starter. And then, like you said, hit that injury. It was kind of crazy how God has kind of implanted on my entire journey. Like it feels like, I've said this 1,000 times, but he kind of feels like if you look back at it, he had this red carpet. And he was like, Brandon, just follow this red carpet for me. In the times, obviously, you're like, oh, crap, Lord, what are you doing to me here? Like, why you got me in this direction? Why you got me in this direction? But from a grand scheme standpoint, if you back it up, you understand like, wow, he was imprinted on that. Because 2011, tear my ACL. I meet my wife in the training room. We met. She was a Western soccer player. We wouldn't have our kids right now. We'd be married. We're actually celebrating 10 years of marriage this year. So praise the Lord. But I met her here at Western, and wouldn't have had that time with her, and wouldn't have been able to meet her if I didn't tear my ACL, and then kind of bounce back. She was kind of my motivating factor to be in the training room, and then bounce back and just had a really good years, bad years. We had one bad year in 2013 where I didn't feel like I played up to standard, and then in 2014 we just really hit the ball run. So, there is something to say about, I know in today's world with the transfer portal and the NIL and all this stuff, it seems like these kids are moving in so many different directions, but I think there's so much life lessons you can learn from just going through that adversity and kind of building those calluses as you grow up and become adults and raising kids and trying to figure all that stuff out as you get older. So,
I love that you mentioned the fact that you met your wife here, because that was one of my questions. I was going to say you were literally making plays on and off the field because you met your wife here. You said she was a motivator in the training room. No, I love that. So you were behind the scenes making plays, and I love that. 10 years is, oh my gosh, congrats. I love that.
Amen. There you go. But yeah, no, she was unbelievable. She was about a month and a half ahead of me in the rehab. She tore hers a month and a half before I did.
Oh, wow. Okay, both were dealing with injury. Okay.
ACL.
Okay.
ACL. She tore her left one, and I tore my right one. And so she was like a month and a half ahead of me. So I was like, man, I got to go get her. Like, my competitive juices as an athlete was like, man, I got to go get her. Like, she's running. Like, I got to start running. Like, I'm not running there. She's jumping. I got to start jumping. So it was awesome. It was very organic. And we got to know each other and became really good friends. And then it blossomed into 10 years later. Almost 16 years later, because we dated for a while, and then here we are still going strong.
The best kind of love story. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Amen.
The 2014 and 2015 seasons were incredible for you. Back-to-back CUSA MVP honors, undefeated in conference play, and a bowl win. What stands out the most from those championship runs?
The team. Going back to like NIL and transfer portal, and going through like the adversity of ups and downs of the seasons. I think for the most part in 2014, 2015, our nucleus of players kind of came from that old school era of not being very good. So that team was just built really, really well. Jeff Rom was trying to implement his standpoint on like throwing the ball down the field, running a pro style offense where we were going to try to run the ball, but also use the run to set up the pass, and then vice versa. And so what I remember from 14 is the Marshall game. So that was incredible. It's kind of crazy. Again, I'll say it again, but God's imprint on it was unbelievable. We really had no doubt playing Marshall in 2014. I know it sounded crazy because Marshall hadn't lost in like, I think 3 or 4 years at home. And we were like 6-6 or 6-5 or something like that at the time. And we had no doubt we were going to beat them. So I think I remember that from 2014. 2015 was a special year. It was one of those years where it just felt like everything that we were doing in the off season was for a purpose. And it kind of came together so beautifully. Like the combination of skill players, offensive line players, their unique athletic ability was all kind of worked. We worked hard on behind the scenes, but on Saturdays it was like a perfect in motion, like it's like almost like a script, like a play. We were running a play. Like it wasn't like we were thinking. We just had known the offense. It was like the back of our hand. It was almost kind of a surreal situation that we were in. Like we were just so good in that. I felt comfortable and felt confident going into every single game. Like, hey, we had a chance to win this game every time we stepped on the field. So that was cool.
All it takes is a little bit of faith.
Amen. Oh, amen. No, it's all out.
You were the first Hilltopper to ever receive Heisman votes. When did it start to hit you that you and your team were doing something truly historic?
Wow. That's a good question. I would say, well, I guess there's a couple moments in there. Well, our team was we got off to a really good start. We had a really good fall camp. I think we worked really, really hard in camp. It was one of the tougher ones we had. Jeff kind of turned it on, knowing how talented we were. He didn't want us to get complacent. So I think, as after the Indiana game, we played La Tech in 2014, and I threw 3 interceptions. We lost like 56-3 or 56-10. We got crushed. And then we had La Tech in 2015 at home, and they were running that same crazy defense as they were running. I'll never forget it. And we offensively, we were scoring at will. And I think right then and there, we were like, holy cow, this could be a pretty good offense. And so I think right then and there, we were like, all right, we're going to have a chance at this. And then we kind of just felt like we could do whatever we wanted. It was like in 2015, we could kind of dictate what the defense was doing rather than the defense dictating what we were doing. And that's a cool space to be in, you know what I mean? So, I would say that La Tech game kind of turned it for us to all say belief. But also going back to 2014, I think that Marshall game really kind of built that momentum going into the bowl game, which was crazy. And then moving into the season, we just had that confidence that we could kind of compete with anyone.
You talked about different types of games, Marshall, La Tech, but what has been your favorite game that you played at WKU? And can you just walk us through those emotions of that game and what it meant to you and your team?
There's a lot of games now. It's funny how the older you get, like the more you remember like the bad games. Like you're like, oh man, I remember Tennessee when I threw 5 interceptions and some guy on Twitter said I was worse than Uncle Rico. Like I remember that, like it was the back of my hand. But like the touchdowns and the numbers and stuff, until I'm trying to show my kids or stuff, I don't really remember much of it. It's like the success was, and to me, that's a credit to like success being the standard. Like that's kind of what Jeff Brown preached. Like, hey, our standard is going to be, we are going to be the most successful team on this field. We're going to be able to convert at a high level. We're going to do what we want. So like when you look back at it, you're like, oh, we're just doing what we're supposed to be doing, you know? So I would say the Marshall game, like I said, going into the prep that week, we had a really good understanding of what they were going to do defensively. And then I'll say a side note, this is kind of crazy, but we're on the bus ride there in Huntington, and we didn't know anything about them being really good. And I watched they'd given up like 150 yards passing a week, like averaged 150 yards passing against the opposing quarterback. Their defense was like ranked in the top 5. And right before the game, we came here and I watched them give up explosive plays. They had a cut up that said, hey, I wanted to watch them give up a cut up of how many yards they passed on passing, gained in the off against them that year or past 2 years. And I got some confidence in there, like knowing, hey, we could get some big plays if we really need to. They're not always this good. And then on our way to in Huntington, on our way to the game, I was leading the country in passing, and I'm not big on statistics. I think.
You didn't even know you broke 37 records.
It's just silly to me. Like I just wasn't. That's just not my personality. Like I think I was really good because of the guys around me, and I truly believe that to my core. Like you can ask anybody. And so, but we were going to Marshall. I was leading the country in passing, and the Marshall defense did an local interview, and one of my offensive linemen passes me the interview that was being shot, and it said like, they better be able to run the ball. Like this guy these DBs were like so confident. And I'm like, they better run the ball. I don't care what he's done. And I'm like, hold on, man. Like, I think that kind of
Fueled
everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I kind of echoed that to the team as a captain. Like they don't respect us. I used the us to say, hey, they don't respect us as an offense. They say you're not good enough, or you're not good enough, or our offense line's not going to hold up against y'all. We better run the ball. We can't throw it. And I think our receivers kind of picked up their game and said, hey, took that to kind of heart a little bit and elevated us. And we just kind of hit the ground running and seemed like everything was working in the game. And we actually ran out of shot plays to play. If you talk to Jeff Strong, he'll tell you, like, we ran out of plays down the field. And that's what I remember the most about that game. But again, we were in that game. We were going onto the field. And honestly, I swear on everything I know, I never had a doubt. Like, there was like, we were going to win this game. They score first in overtime. We're still going to win this game. I don't care what's going to happen. So it was an emotional game. It was really cool, but I also think it propelled us into, setting the standard of success for the year after that. So it was cool.
Definitely. Confidence, is key just in every sports program. Yes.
It's huge.
And when you believe, good things happen.
Amen. Amen.
WKU's high-powered offense became must-watch football in Conference USA. What do you think made that system and your team so special?
I was not, my opinion, I wasn't a very good football player. I think Jeff Brom was unbelievable at making sure that everything that I was good at, which was very little, he kind of displayed that and made sure that that was what we did. And I think that was cool. Like, he kind of built that offense perfectly around me.
He made the system work.
And he made everybody, and it kind of got the confidence in me, and then it kind of trickled down to everybody else to be like, oh man, this is what we do. So credit to him. But we could do everything. And what people don't understand about 2015 is, like, I only really played in like 3 or 4 full games that year. Like, we got pulled because we were beating teams by 50 points, and Jeff would pull me to start the third quarter. And it's like, okay, like what if we would have played the whole game? You know what I mean? Like, and the games would have been close. Like, we were just rolling. Like, it was one of those seasons where you're just like, man, this is unbelievable. I can't believe we're able to dominate like this. So it's cool. Yeah, it's cool.
You were in the transition period of when WKU was going from FCS to FBS. And I think it's just important to talk about now because so many of our, in conference realignment now, some of our programs in Conference USA now are making that transition as well.
Absolutely.
WKU went from a program finding its footing in FBS to a conference powerhouse under your leadership. How did it feel being at the center of that transformation?
It was cool. My first 2 years were tough. I mean, it really was. It was definitely a transition. The talent is better. Recruiting is better. And then your players, it was different back then because you didn't have the portal to kind of completely rebuild your roster in 1 year. You can flip it. Where back in the day, you had 4 years. You're committing to these guys. You got to, so like your senior players, like when I came in, every one of them was Division I AA players. Like, they were not, and I don't mean it, they were good players at Division I, but they were recruited as D1 AA players. So I think that transition was hard for us, but as soon as, credit to Willie Taggart, credit to Jeff Brom, credit to Bobby Petrino, he just recruited guys that fit our culture, fit what we were trying to do, and it just kind of took off. So, what I would echo is there's got to be some growing pains. But at the same time, if you want sustained success, kind of like Western's had, I think you have to go through those growing pains for the longevity of success like they've had. So it's been cool.
Definitely. You mentioned a lot about us and the team. Who were some of your teammates that really pushed you, whether that's in practice or just through your time at WKU?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, gosh.
Just shout outs.
There's so many. I would say the number one guy that pushed me as a very young player, had the most impact on me, I would say there's 2 guys. Bobby Rainey was one of the guys that I was like, man, I really look up to Bobby and just how he prepares for a football game, how much he cares about his body. I thought that was really cool. Like, he took care of his body. He took care of he understood what he was eating, didn't put anything junk in his body. And then Jack Doyle. When Jack was here, when I was a young kid, he was the man. Jack Doyle was Captain Jack, and he always knew from a leadership standpoint, he wasn't the greatest athlete of all time, and he'll admit that to you. But Jack was like one of those guys that he just knew how to elevate a team, like from a leadership standpoint. Best accomplishment I've ever had here at Western, anywhere in my career, was being named a 3-time captain. And I think I learned a lot of those qualities of being a captain from Captain Jack. So they called him Captain Jack, maybe, yeah. But Captain Jack Doyle. And so he just actually knew how to like kind of elevate the team. He knew exactly what the team needed in that moment and was able to present that, give that information, and then move on and echo it. It was cool. So, yeah, those two guys I would say. Obviously, in 2015, 14, I can name the whole roster. I mean, Willie McNeil, Tyree Robinson was unbelievable, helping me get better from when he was a DB. I played quarterback. He kind of challenged me in that aspect. He helped me learn coverages. On my backup quarterbacks, Drew Eccles, the Nelson Fishback, Max Halpin, my center. I mean, Forrest Lamp, he's here today celebrating this. So, I mean, there's just so many guys. Taywan Taylor was one of those guys, like, it sounds crazy, but you knew if you threw the ball to Taywan, the first guy he was going to make miss every single time. He didn't care who it was. It was unbelievable. Like, we played LSU, same story. Like, throw it out to Taywan, first guy. I'd never seen him get tackled by the first guy. And I was like, they're going to give me 5 yards. I'll throw it to Taywan, he's going to get 20. So it's like, so yeah, there's just so many guys. Nicholas Norris, Derek Dangerfield. Like, what people don't understand is like the craft that came into 2015, like how hard we worked in the summer. Like, I felt, and I'm not being dramatic, I felt like if they called certain routes and if Jeff called whatever, I could throw a comeback to Jared Dangerfield blindfolded. And that's how we were. It was like a play, like literally 3-step hitch. That ball's coming out. I know exactly where to throw it before he comes out of his break. Like, we did that for every player. Like, Taywan Taylor, I knew I could take a hitch, and throw it as far as I could, literally as far as I could, and he was going to go get it. Like, I don't know if that, and that's what's scary about the state of college football we're in right now, is I don't know if that relationship, quarterback receiver, that takes time to build.
Cohesiveness, yeah.
That cohesiveness, that understanding. I just don't, I'm scared that that's dead because of the portal. But hopefully we figure it out and say, hey, this is what we need to do, and we need to make those changes. And they work extra hard to build that. But I think that's what made us so special in 2015 was that. Just being able to do that blindfolded. Like, he calls a play, I could just know exactly what my footwork is. I know what the read is, and I know where to throw the ball. It's crazy. So
that is crazy. No, that's incredible just to even describe.
It was cool. It was really cool.
WKU fans always talk about the bond between the players and the Bowling Green community. How important was that connection to you, or is that connection to you?
Oh gosh, it's important. It's crazy because the fans and I have gone through a roller coaster ride. You know, like when I first became the starting quarterback, I think everyone was kind of like, "Who the heck is this kid?" Especially, I remember, I'll never forget it, in 2013. Even my own PA guy that we were doing spring game, our own PA guy was calling me Daughtry, Brandon Doughty with the pass. And my wife, my girlfriend at the time, texted our PA guy, our public relations guy, and was like, "It's Doughty, Rowdy with a D." And she's like, and the guy after that, she was like, "Doughty, it's Doughty, right?" You know, like, there was nobody knew who I was in 2013. And then we just kind of, they were with me through the highs, they were with me with the lows, always stayed consistent. And then 2014, 2015, man, it was incredible, the support that personally I felt, and the connection that I felt with the Hilltopper community, and what they did, and how they, showed up every week for us, voiced their concerns, voiced their opinions. They were there through the good times, the bad times, but they were always with me, I felt like, through the whole thing. And to this day, I was just talking to Todd about it, and he was like, our fan base is exactly the same. They just ride or die with us. That's how it is. So it's really cool to see. And I'm honored to be a Hilltopper. I'm honored to be here 6 years. I'm proud of this school. I'm proud of what we've accomplished since I've been to school. And it seems like, I don't know, you haven't been here very long, but every time I come back, we got some new innovation. Mm-hmm. We got some new something going.
A wall set up.
We got a marketing wall. We got new graphics in Diddle. We got new graphics in the players' lounge. Our players' lounge is expanded. We got the new indoor. I mean, it's just a cool time. And it's cool to see that being kind of playing a very small role in the roots that this thing is built, to say, hey, man, this is where we're at. This is how we're doing it. And it's a credit to Todd Stewart and investing in WKU athletics, which is cool.
Just last question, since we're just to piggyback off the fans. When fans remember Brandon Doughty's time at WKU, what do you hope that they think of first?
The first thing I hope they think of, and I hope I've done a decent job. I'm not a perfect man. Don't get it wrong, but I hope that they see Jesus in me. I'm somebody that wears my faith on my sleeve. I love Christ. I owe everything to him. I had my walk even more extensive from when I played to when I got out. I made some mistakes like everyone else, but found Christ, and I hope that they think of, and this guy led the right way. This guy wore his heart in his sleeve, and he always put Christ first. So I'm very appreciative of them. I'm very appreciative of what they've given me, my family, how they welcome me, even walking through the halls today. I haven't been back in a while, like Brandon Doughty, and I don't get that everywhere. And so it's a special bond that I have with this community, and especially in the school and Bowling Green community. So it's cool.
I absolutely love that. And I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out. You had a busy day today.
Oh, yeah, but it's been good. Yeah, it's been good. It's been good.
We want to just thank you. We appreciate it so much just for taking the time out, and just congratulations again.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you so much to Brandon Doughty for sitting down with our Jess Radford to talk a little bit about the past at WKU and look forward to the future. All right. Speaking of looking forward to the future, let's look forward to week 9. Really exciting games on the slate this week. Again, those Tuesday games absolutely stick out to me. But so we're going to talk about those first. But Wednesday, no slouch either. We're going to talk about those a little bit. But you look at these games on Tuesday, Kennesaw State at FIU, WKU at La Tech. I could see any combination of these teams going into a Conference USA Championship at the end of the season. So I think this is a very pivotal point for these teams. Now
Trey called me. Trey Stallings on our staff called me on Friday, and just out of the blue, and he was like, both of these games are on Tuesday night? And I was like, yeah. And we started talking through them, and that was it. That was then the conversation ended.
Yeah.
And he was just so surprised that, like, we have back-to-back weeks where, you've got games of this caliber.
I'm excited because we have YouTube TV now. I can split screen it. I can watch both of them at once because they are on at the same time. We'll start with Kennesaw State at FIU on ESPN2 starting at 6 p.m. Central Time. Let's chat about that game.
Yeah, I mean, it's Vice Night. Obviously, a ton of buzz. If you haven't already seen the video and graphics and just all of the amazing content FIU's put out, promoting those uniforms, definitely go watch it. Christian and Hunter and all the other guys that I'm probably forgetting on their staff.
We still let you, even though we forgot.
Yeah. They did an incredible job with all that. I just saw a really cool video about like a behind the scenes on how they recruited like this 3D video designer guy to help them put it all. It was really cool. So, but anyway, so lots of pageantry coming out for this one. But Sarah, did you know they've never won on Vice Night?
You told me that earlier today, and I've been here for a little bit. I remember them having lost a lot on Vice Night, but I did not know that they had never won. So, like you said, 0-3 in the last couple of years, lost to UTSA in 22, UTEP in 23, Sam Houston in 24. Can they get over the hump?
Yeah,
in 2025.
It's such a because the guys get so into it, right? Because obviously the uniforms are elite. They've got 1 year they had boats, 1 year they had Lamborghinis on the side. Like, there's just so much to it, and the guys get so hyped for it, and for it to all kind of fall flat, because ultimately, like, these guys just want to win games, right? They don't really care. I mean, I'm sure they're excited about the uniforms, but the uniforms aren't what get them to a bowl game.
Exactly.
And so that's kind of the first thing that sticks out to me is I'm like, all right, y'all got to get past the I wouldn't want to call it a distraction, but you got to get past all the noise and all that, and like focus on getting a win.
I will say, though, for the first time in a long time, I feel like FIU has put the products together on the field more than they have in the past couple of years, where you're looking at these games that they've lost. So if there was one that they can win, I think that this one is possible. But you look at the other side of the ball at Kennesaw State and what they've had going on with their team in the last couple of weeks. And it is really, for me, it's a toss-up. And I love, you wrote some really great notes on here, so I'm going to let you tell them. But the differences in the rush game and the defensive game and the pass game and the defensive game on either side, there's some really good juxtaposition in this game.
It's a perfect little like X, right? Yeah, just with how they match up. And I kind of, the way I wrote it in my preview today, I was just like, it's the chock full of like immovable object meets unstoppable force. And because we've seen what FIU can do on the ground, but we also know that this Kennesaw State front is really talented, and they've limited a lot of great offenses on the ground. And then on the flip side, this KSU passing offense that just torched La Tech a couple weeks ago, who is we touted their defense week after week, and then going up against this FIU passing defense, who we just saw what they did against Maverick McIver and one of the best offenses in the league, at Western Kentucky. So seeing what really, and then on top of that, both teams come in top 25 in red zone defense. So something's got to give somewhere, right? And just, I'm interested to see where someone finds an edge. Is it Keywan Jenkins, because they can't get the run game going as much as they can, is it Keywan Jenkins having a big game? Or, Kennesaw State, is it someone like a Coleman Bennett, if they can't get the pass game going, that he's able to move him on the ground? So
that'll be something, too, to watch from the Kennesaw State side. We don't know at this point who they're running out at quarterback, right?
So, against Louisiana Tech, the conversation was, Amari Odom wasn't on the injury report. They just didn't feel like he was 100%, but if they absolutely needed him, if that game got in a pinch and they just wanted a change of pace at quarterback, he was able to play. So just want to clear that up, that there wasn't any weird foul play there or anything. It was just they saw going into the bye week, they felt, hey, if we don't need him, let's give him a little extra time to just get to 100%. And then when we come back, with this big road game at FIU, he's firing on all cylinders, ready to go. So I haven't really seen anything yet, but I think all signs are pointing to seeing Amari Odom again. But I mean, it's got to be tough for Dexter Williams, right? Like, you play the game of your life. Yeah. I mean, he never had a game even close to that in his college career. Mostly just kind of came in as a sub and obviously had a couple starts early on this year. But to do that, and I'm sure he's a great teammate and just wants to get a win, right? And it's, he's not going to be selfish about it, but it's also just tough for him to go out there and then have to just turn around and hand it back over.
Yeah. And for Jerry Mack, too, though, now he knows that if he gets in a pinch in either direction, he's got two great quarterbacks that he can run out there and try and save the game for him if that's what's needed. So that'll be interesting to watch. By the time that this episode comes out on Tuesday, tomorrow, we may know something. But as we sit here on Monday afternoon, we do not know anything at this moment. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really good one. Obviously, Vice Night, all the pomp and circumstance that you were talking about before. Glad that it's on ESPN, too. So we're, nationally televised games all throughout October have been awesome. Like you mentioned before, this is what Weekday CUSA is all about.
Oh, yeah.
I love that they've embraced it and gone ahead and put Vice Night right on, not on Saturday. It's on a Tuesday.
Yes.
So we'll be able to see that game tomorrow night, ESPN2, 6 p.m. Central Time. The other game tomorrow night is WKU at Louisiana Tech, CBS Sports Network at 6:30. So these games will be going on at the same time. Split screen it if you can.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be another good one.
Got to. Yeah. And it's so interesting, too, because this is like script writer stuff, right? Because we just talked about the two teams that have pulled off two of the biggest upsets in the league playing each other. And then now you have like the third place game, right? Because you have the two teams that just lost these upsets that now are reeling from that and have to get back on track. Someone's going to win this game, right? And so I'm interested to see, in a game that still obviously has a ton of postseason implications, who comes out on top of this one. But, this could be another one, like, again, just go into those juxtaposition matchups, like WKU, and they are both equally coming off disappointing games, is the WKU passing offense against this Louisiana Tech defense we talked about plenty.
Yep. And they're going to be raring to get out there after they didn't perform as well up to maybe their expectation on the defensive side of the ball for La Tech, or on the offensive side of the ball for WKU in their last two games. So super interested to see what that's going to look like. One of the stats that you pulled out, which I found interesting, and looking back now, I can see where this is coming from. But both of these teams are among the most penalized in FBS. So I think that if one of the teams can shore that up for this week, that'll have huge implications on the outcome of this game as well.
Yeah, because you just got to play disciplined football, because if you start running into anything that keeps your defense from getting off the field, or nullifying a touchdown, anything like that, that's just going to frustrate the heck out of coaches. You got to play a clean game, and that's going to be a big key. The other one I was kind of looking at is just when WKU is in the red zone, because Louisiana Tech's defense, for as much as we talk about them, another thing that sticks out for them is they're 10th in the nation in red zone defense. And WKU is coming off a game where they were only 1 for 3 because of those 2 red zone interceptions you mentioned. 1 for 3 in the red zone. I look back because I feel like at one point I was like, man, I feel like that, WKU, I was talking about them being one of the most dangerous in the red zone, because they started the year 16 of 18 in the red zone. 15 of those were touchdowns. And now you look back at the last couple games, they only have 4 touchdowns in their last 10 red zone trips. So the oh my gosh, losing the execution. The execution in the red zone is has obviously taken a huge hit for WKU. So, again, just if they can clean that up, if they can actually finish some drives, they'll be in a good place. But yeah, that's obviously something that jumped out.
Yeah, for sure. WKU has a couple of things that they need to fix from last week. Less turnovers, more points in the red zone, I think, are the two ones that jump out the most. But that game is going to be a good one. It's in Ruston. We know the fans come out in Ruston to cheer on their Bulldogs. So this will be another fun one to watch tomorrow night. CBS Sports Network, again, that's 6:30 p.m. Central Time. We're moving to Wednesday.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right. We've got two games on Wednesday, starting off with Middle Tennessee at Delaware. That's on ESPN2 at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Regardless of what else you look at during this game, the quarterback matchup, I think, is what most people are keying in on.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously Nick Vadiato, we know what he can do, and he's continued to do it, even though the results haven't gone their way. But and then Delaware, we talked plenty about Nick Minicucci. The Knicks,
the Knicks. I didn't even realize that.
I know. As I was saying it, I was like, wait, I feel like did I say the wrong name? So I said it twice.
Nice.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun one. With Middle Tennessee, like it's just I'm almost kind of at a loss, right? Like. Because again, Nick's gotten it done. Jaquil Middlebrook, running back position, has put together a few really dominant performances in the last few weeks. But obviously they've had some struggles on defense, and it's just like, well, if they continue to do it right, like the regression is going to kind of catch up to them a little bit, and they'll start to get some wins. But Delaware, hard not to pick them in this game. Again, just knowing what Nick Minicucci and that Delaware offense can do. Revealed some great uniforms too, by the way.
Yes, I saw the midnight. I like everyone's leaning into like the spookiness for Halloween coming up next week. Love it. But yeah, I think that Delaware probably went home, took a look at some film, realized how much they probably need to get Joe Silver more involved coming up this weekend. I think that is probably going to be a huge key for them. But again, despite the loss, 422 yards passing for Minicucci. Can't deny that was an incredible stat line. Definitely need to get the run game going more for the Blue Hens, but home field advantage there. What do they call it? The tub?
The tub.
And the tub.
Yeah.
So it is, like you said, it's hard not to pick them. But with somebody like Nick Vadiato at quarterback on the other side, I could also see him taking the game and just running away with it. So regardless of the results, I think I will understand how we got there either way. But ending out the night on Wednesday night, we've got an 8 p.m. Central kick on CBS Sports Network. Missouri State headed to Las Cruces to take on the New Mexico State Aggies. Another great quarterback matchup, potentially.
Yeah, we've got four great quarterbacks, no matter who the fourth one is on the Missouri State side, because we still haven't seen a clear indication on whether Jacob Clark will come back. I think the most recent update I saw from Coach Beard is that he's day-to-day right now. I think he was very close to playing in their last game against Middle Tennessee, but I think even if we see Deuce Bailey, I mean, we were very impressed by what he was able to do in their last win. So again, great quarterback matchup, no matter who we see under center for the Bears. But I'm really excited to watch both of these offenses because, we've seen a lot of great things from New Mexico State. This David Yost-led offense with Logan Fife, his ability to sling the ball. Now we're seeing TK King get worked into the offense. They're really fun. You see a lot of big pass plays from them. You see a lot of big pass plays from Missouri State. I think obviously more so when you have Jacob Clark out there. We know what his arm can do. But they've been capable of getting some big time runs as well with Shamari Lawrence, with Deuce Bailey, if he ends up playing under center. So I think these offenses are going to be a ton of fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the offense, but New Mexico State forcing 3 turnovers in 3 of its last 6 games. Leads Conference USA in turnovers gained. That's going to be a huge talking point, I think, for the Aggies going into this weekend, this week, Weekday CUSA as well. Obviously, home field advantage there for the Aggies also. Yeah. I do think, regardless, despite Deuce Bailey doing incredible things in this last game, his last win, it is, I feel like, a different conversation whether or not Bailey or Clark is going out there, what we're going to see from that offense. But I think either way, like you said, they have big playability on that side of the ball. And so it's going to be a good one. I don't know what to expect out of this game. Like you said, New Mexico State has been doing really great things. They've had a good recipe. TK King is back playing, and that has been huge for them. He has been a target on lots and lots of plays lately. So I can't make a prediction in this one. I don't know if you want to either way, but
I know, right? I feel like I skipped predictions on the first two.
Right?
Those ones are just like
I wasn't even touching those two. No.
No, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to make a prediction on this one, but I think for New Mexico State, again, just going back to the turnover conversation, if they're able to force some mistakes on Missouri State, get some pressure on Missouri State. I know that one of the biggest knocks on them is just the ability to keep guys out of the backfield. That was Middle Tennessee was able to get. I think they finished with 4 sacks and 9 tackles for loss in that game. So, and then for New Mexico State, it's just don't hang your head on the lost Liberty because, like we said, like they played 90% of a great game. So you just got to, replicate a lot of those same things, win the turnover battle, win the time of possession, outgain them. You figure out a way to check all those boxes. And I can, almost guarantee you that 9 times out of 10, you're going to win that ball game.
Yep, for sure. Well, this is our second to last week of Weekday CUSA, John. We believe we made it to this point.
Yeah, and we still have a lot to go. Obviously, we've previewed these matchups. We got a couple more the following week that should be pretty interesting. So, but it's been, I hope for you guys, it's certainly for us, it has not been a disappointment. But another successful year of Weekday CUSA, definitely.
And we're excited to finish it all out next week with some more exciting games.
Yeah.
But before we end out the show, we've got 2 other great team sports here at Conference USA that are starting to wind their regular seasons down and look forward to some CUSA championships, starting with women's soccer. The last weekend of the regular season is coming up this weekend. I had to double check that with Eric because I was so surprised that it's already here. But as some of you know, or if you don't, our women's soccer championship has changed a little bit as far as what day it starts and what day it ends and how much time they get in between every game and all of that good stuff. So that championship starts on Sunday, November 2nd.
Yeah.
Which means they can't play games next weekend.
Right.
So this is the last weekend of the regular season, but it is coming down to the wire.
Yeah. A great race sport. 7 teams have clinched a spot to go to Lynchburg for the championship. So got a couple teams to decide the last spot. And then you have a title race that's really starting to heat up now because Liberty went on the road, beat Delaware 2-0 on Sunday. They secure. I had to send this to the group because I couldn't believe this stat in their recap. They secured their 3rd straight undefeated road slate in Conference USA play.
That's crazy.
They are on the road since they joined in 2023. They are 22-0-5. Which is crazy. I mean, we always talk about how important it is to go on the road and get wins. Those are the toughest ones to come by. To be able to do that at a consistent level like that over a 3-year span is crazy. Yeah. So
you always talk about home field advantage. No one talks about away team advantage.
Yeah. And they certainly have had it. So with that win, now they moved into a tie atop the table. Both them and WKU are 5-0-2 right now. They didn't play in the regular season. There's going to be if they end up tied at 6-0-2 or 5, whatever they end up tied at, if they are tied, it's going to be a very interesting tiebreaker for that number 1 seed. But I think we're kind of staring down a potential of co-champions right now, which is crazy.
And then like you said, 7 of the 8 spots for the CUSA Championship have been clinched. We'll have to see how the rest of the games end out this upcoming weekend to figure out that 8th spot. But if you want to look into those 2 that sit at the very top, WKU plays at Jacksonville State at 1 p.m. Central on Sunday. Sam Houston at Liberty, noon Central. Liberty's at home. I mean, if they were away, I'd been like, they're shooing. They're shooing for winning. So we'll have to check out those and then be ready for bracket. We'll drop next week. We'll have to get all that figured out, but that championship starts in just a little over a week. So we're super excited about that one. And then we look at the volleyball side. UTEP, WKU still undefeated in conference play at 8-0. WKU survived a scary match against Sam Houston over the weekend, came out on top. So lots of good stuff on that side as well. FIU swept all 6 sets over Delaware to move to 6-2, and Kennesaw State sitting there as well. So the top is pretty figured out, but again, that's the tie still needs to be broken up there. And then some really great volleyball happening in the league right now. But there is a game to watch this weekend.
Two
games to watch this weekend. UTEP at WKU is the weekend series. So you got those 2 8-0 teams sitting there, but can't win them all. Can't go through the weekend undefeated. So UTEP at WKU Friday at 6 p.m. and then Saturday at noon. Definitely go to conferenceusa.com, check out our schedule page, see where you can watch those games because they're going to be good ones.
I mean, we need to have that like last weekend of the season. It's almost criminal to have this so early.
Right? I'm sure that Jess
just because you know that these are going to be, I mean, obviously the biggest matches of the regular season for these two, again, 2 undefeated teams. Someone's got to lose. It's going to be
a good one. I'm hoping that we don't do the same thing in football and have to wait till the last weekend of the regular season.
I know. I'm looking at that WKU Jack State game on November 29th or 30th, whatever day of the week it is. And I'm like, shoot, man, because with the way the standings look right now, we're barreling towards that instability. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get some clarity in the coming weeks. Again, I think Tuesday will tell us a lot about where a couple of these teams are for sure.
Absolutely. Well, there's one thing that you can say about Conference USA, and that is that we like to have a lot of fun across all of our sports, whether it's fun for us here at the conference office sometimes to try and figure all of these things out. I'll leave that for you to decide.
Sometimes you just kind of throw your hands up a little bit and say, whatever, man, like this stuff's crazy.
Absolutely fun for the fans to watch though. Well, okay, we have previewed our weekend in soccer, our weekend in volleyball, and our week in football, and that is all that we have for you today. Be sure that you are following us on social media so that you never miss a new episode. You can follow us on X and Instagram at CUSA Insider Pod. If you are watching us right now, then you have found us on YouTube. If you are listening to us on one of our audio only platforms, then you can go watch us if you would like. Go to youtube.com, search Conference USA, and the CUSA Insider Podcast is sitting right there at the top of our homepage. All right, everyone, that is all we have for you this week. Thank you so much for listening to CUSA Insider Pod, the official podcast of Conference USA. I'm Sarah Rudolph, signing off.